we push the boundary of what is suitable.
And actually what to do in those situations when the communication just doesn't go together.
Things do break down from time to time.
I don't know who needs to hear this message, but this is something that happens in our relationship. You know, where the pressure is building up and up and up and up when you constantly spend a lot of time together and you work on the same business together and you literally stuck in the same apartment together in a completely foreign country. Sometimes you feel like the emotions just going all the way up to here, and unfortunately our partners are the closest who we release all the emotions on. Would you like to share what's happened?
No, not at all. I'm perfectly ambiguous to all of this. This has been an ongoing area of development for both of us. If you've watched any of the other conversations we've had previously, you'll learn that we have been traveling internationally for 2 and a bit years now. And we've spent periods of time in one country or another, but the majority of the time has been in closed quarters. And, you know, when you're traveling, you stay in rented accommodation a lot of the times. And, you know, sometimes you're spending it with friends, but a lot of the times, for example, in Medellin in Colombia, we've been here 2.5 months nearly, and we're in a beautiful studio apartment, but it's simply that, it's a studio apartment. It has a divider, but it's not completely, there's not complete separate parts of the house. And Medellin is this incredible city in Colombia. 30 years ago, it was voted the most dangerous city in the world. Now it's dramatically improved in all areas of its life, but it's still not a place that you would go out by yourself at night. So you don't maybe have the freedoms that you would have in another Western country. And so you tend to, you know, rightly or wrongly, spend a lot of time in the presence of each other. And we love spending time with each other. Like, I don't know whether I'll live to regret this statement. I hope not, but like, we are really best friends, and as well as being lovers and you know, married to each other. So
and purpose partners
and business together with purpose partners for life. Sometimes we push the boundary of what is suitable with time together. And we are talking 23, 22 hours a day together. And the only time that we are separate is if I go and spend some time at the gym. And you've been exercising at home as well, so you're not even leaving the house that much. Don't get me wrong, we make plenty of trips to the shopping center there where we get our groceries and, you know, go up to the local butcher and that type of thing. But those trips are not as frequent. But unfortunately, things do break down from time to time. And the only person that's there to be on the receiving end of your little pity party is your spouse. So that's what we wanted to talk about today.
And actually what to do in those situations when the communication just doesn't go together. There is so much anger and disappointment and all these stuck emotions are building up. So how to get out of this situation when it feels like this is the end of the world?
So what's the solution? Well, here's what happened the other day to us. Anna had a client, hypnotherapy client, and I could easily work quietly here with headphones on, or I could choose to go across to the shopping center there where there's some co-working spaces. So we had this disagreement, this argument, whatever you want to call it. And I was frustrated and I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I went and found a little cozy little spot at the co-working space there, which is all in the public domain. And I've been writing another book. And no more than 5 minutes into writing this book, a gentleman, this American guy, came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you're obviously a gringo, right?" Which is like a slang for non-Spanish speaking or non-indigenous local person, right? And I said, "That's correct. I am a gringo." And we started chatting, and he was a really inspiring guy, and he asked me lots of questions about myself. And I started talking about Anna. He was asking about my wife, and I started speaking about Anna in ways that I would normally speak about Anna when we're not fighting and arguing, in a very loving and deeply respectful manner. And I found myself feeling less and less aggressive towards Anna as I was singing her praises. And then I got to a point where I was like, oh man, like just wasting energy and time over nothing really. And I was having this pity party, which, you know, they talk about ego. It was exactly that. And I really stepped into a feminine energy, which is a time and a place for it. But this is like the ultimate pity party. And I realized the absurdity of my situation. So I dealt with that. I allowed Anna to finish a 3-hour coaching session or whatever, and I came back and she said, I'm finished, and I said, I'm coming, and then she loved the message, and that just dissolved all of the tension, the possible tension about going, what kind of environment am I going back into? So there's one little nugget there that you can use. Use the power of a love heart emoji to destroy the negative energy. And if you can find a situation where you can share with someone positively your, you know, attributes of your partner and why you do love them, I suppose it's a form of gratitude. So there are a couple of things that might be of value to you and when you're having a disagreement or an argument with your partner.
And for me, Laban leaving the house gave me an opportunity to cool down a little bit. I'm not this kind of person who goes emotionally very often. It's very hard to make me actually emotional. But just the fact that he wasn't at home made me really miss him. And I just asked myself, what are we even arguing about? And then once we cooled down, next morning we had a conversation, and I told Laban, I don't want to fight you. I want to fight beside you. which is, that's what you need in this world when there is a lot of distraction and other things, and you really want to have someone by your side. But again, it's an inner work. It's not about changing your partner. It's changing yourself. It's working on your emotions, inner emotions. It's about looking inside. How do I provoke those kind of situations? How do I attract those kind of situations? What is my story that I'm telling myself in my subconscious or in my conscious brain?
And just for further context as well, the introduction of a spiritual coach into my life and also Anna's life to a lesser extent, his name's Constantine. He's from Austria originally and lives here in Medellin. And what I forgot is when we first got together, he said, there will be large disruption. And him and I had a conversation yesterday, and I was telling him what was happening in terms of, you know, because we'd had a couple of these fights. He said, you must expect big disruption in this area. It will happen a lot more in the short term. So, and I kind of forgot about that, you know, between Christmas and New Year's Eve and just doing all the other stuff that we're doing. And there's a great quote. I believe it's from Myron Golden, but he might have taken it from someone else. But it's disruption follows intention, and this disruption follows a decision that I made recently to eviscerate all of my own personal social media and my business stuff as well. So what an experience that was, and lots of emotions, you know, addiction as well being managed and dealt with. So we really hope that you find some of what we share here invaluable in your own journey. We'll never proclaim to have all the answers. What we do promise and commit to is being honest and vulnerable about the state of our life and our situation, and painting a real picture about how our relationship is as much as possible.
If there is anything else you are struggling recently in your relationship with your partner, comment below and we would love to answer your questions in the next video.
Only if we can though. We're not miracle makers.
Not yet.